This pathetic soldier should have stayed in his mother's womb. He can't even fire a bullet. A group of elite soldiers pointed and laughed at Noah Thorne, a young recruit standing against his opponent, a 6'5" giant named Miller. They were competing for a spot in the Phantom Rangers, United States' most lethal special operations task force. Everyone knew it was a mismatch. Miller was a legacy recruit, trained at private military academies since birth. Noah was a weak nobody from the mountains. But what happened in the next 10 minutes shocked everyone. The contenders were supposed to complete a 500-meter obstacle sprint in full gear, followed immediately by the field assembly of a disassembled rifle and firing a precise shot at a target 300 meters away. And the result was exactly what they expected. Miller had finished the course, assembled his weapon, and hit the bullseye before Noah had even cleared the final wall. When Noah finally stumbled to the table, his hands were shaking so badly he couldn't align the receiver pins. The rifle parts clattered onto the table. He couldn't even aim. "Time!" the instructor shouted. "Thorne, you're done." Noah hung his head, shame burning his face. Miller walked over with a smirk. "Pathetic," Miller spat, kicking mud onto Noah's boots. "Go back to catching fish in your daddy's pond, you hillbilly faggot." Noah stiffened. He began to pack his gear silently. "Didn't you hear me?" Miller leaned in, his voice dripping with venom. "This is an elite regiment. We come from good families, strong bloodlines. We don't need a hunter's bad blood stray dog messing up our formation." Something inside Noah snapped. The exhaustion vanished, replaced by a hot rage. "Apologize right now," Noah said in fury. Miller couldn't handle the comeback. He stepped forward, determined to teach Noah a lesson. He swung a wild punch at Noah, but to everyone's surprise, Noah not only dodged the punch swiftly, the next thing Noah did was something no one could have ever imagined. He slapped Miller, who was twice his size, sending him reeling. How did a soldier who couldn't even hold a gun properly dodge an unbeatable punch and respond with a slap? The sound echoed across the drill yard like a gunshot. The entire platoon gasped. Miller stumbled back, clutching his jaw, eyes wide with shock. "My family," Noah said, his voice low and dangerous, "taught me how to hunt predators, not bullies." 2 hours later, Noah stood at attention in the colonel's office. "You have a hell of a right hand, Thorne," Colonel Vance said, looking at a file. "But you have zero brains." "He insulted my family, sir," Noah said, staring straight ahead. "And you assaulted a superior officer's nephew," Vance replied, slamming the file shut. "Miller's uncle is a senator. Do you know what that means?" Noah remained silent. "It means you're done," Vance said. "You will be presented before a council that will complete the formalities of the court-martial. You are stripped of your rank and ineligible for reinstatement until further notice." How will Noah, an expelled soldier, fulfill his dream of becoming a Phantom Ranger? Stay tuned to listen to this mind-blowing story. Long before he was a recruit, Noah Thorne was a ghost in the Alaskan wilderness. His family belonged to a small, forgotten tribe of hunters and gatherers living deep in the Yukon Basin. They lived off the grid, far removed from modern technology, relying on ancient instincts to survive the brutal winters. However, the modern world has a way of encroaching on the wild. When Noah was 15, a private military company of mercenaries, hired by an oil conglomerate, descended on their land. They wanted the tribe gone. They didn't ask nicely. The attack was swift and brutal. Fire rained down on their wooden huts. Noah wanted to fight, but his father shoved him toward the tree line. "You must survive, Noah. Go!" Noah fled into the forest. In that moment of helplessness, a desperate dream took root in Noah's heart. He wouldn't just survive, he would become strong. He would join the US military. Before he left the remnants of his family behind to seek civilization, he also made a vow to his weeping mother. "I am leaving this poor life behind," he promised, his voice cracking. "I will go to the city. I will join the army. And one day, I will return as a Phantom Ranger." the most elite, respected special forces unit in the world. I will bring glory to the name Thorne. No one will ever hurt us again. 3 years later, Noah stood in a military boot camp, thousands of miles from the snow. He was physically superior to most of the recruits. His aim was true, and his stealth was unnatural. But the military is a society, and in that society, Noah was an outcast. He was poor. While other recruits bought extra gear and snacks at the commissary, Noah saved every penny, sending it back to what remained of his tribe. His uniform was always clean, but his boots were secondhand, and his civilian clothes were rags. "Hey, nature boy, did you hunt a rat for dinner today? Or are you waiting for the garbage truck?" Other recruits would sneer in the mess hall. "Look at his boots," another laughed. "I bet he traded beaver skin for those." The mockery was constant. Noah took it all in silence. He didn't care about their opinions. He cared about the Phantom Ranger badge. Until today. He stood in the rain outside the administration building, his world crumbling. The Phantom Ranger dream was dead. The glory he promised his family was gone. He was just a poor boy from the woods again, with nothing to show for his struggle but shame. He packed his bag, ready to disappear back into the wild. "Cadet Thorne!" A breathless clerk ran up to him at the gates. "The colonel wants you in the briefing room." Noah followed the clerk. Inside the room, at the head of the long table, sat the regiment commander, a stern man with gray hair. Flanking the table were the squad leaders, the captains and lieutenants of the various units. These were the gatekeepers of Noah's future. Noah stood at attention, his heart hammering like a trapped bird. "At ease," the commander said, looking over a file. "We reviewed your file, Thorne. You struck a fellow soldier. That is a violation of protocol. Technically, you are still expelled from the Ranger track. You cannot return to your original platoon." "But," the commander looked up, "your ethical evaluation score is the highest I've seen in 10 years. You possess a moral compass most of these men lack. So, I am giving you a second chance. Not as a Ranger trainee, but as a regular infantryman." The commander turned to the room full of officers. "Noah Thorne needs a squad. He is rough around the edges, socially awkward, and comes from nothing. But his field scores are perfect. Who wants him?" Silence filled the room. The officers looked at Noah with disdain. They saw the scuffed boots. They saw the intense, wild look in his eyes. They knew his reputation as the poor kid who got into trouble. "Pass," said the leader of Alpha Squad. "I need team players, not wild hunters." "Pass," said Bravo Squad. "He's a liability." One by one, they rejected him. The shame burned Noah's face. He was being auctioned off, and no one was buying. He clenched his fists, preparing for the final dismissal until... "I'll take him." The voice came from the far corner of the room. A man in a slightly wrinkled uniform stood up. He was older than the others, with a kind face that looked weary from years of service. It was Captain Carter Johnson. The commander raised an eyebrow. "Captain Carter? You want Thorne?" "I do, sir," Carter said, walking forward. He didn't look at Noah's boots. He looked Noah in the eye. "I've watched him on the range. He doesn't fight for points. He fights to survive. I see a fighter in him. And God knows my squad could use a fighter." A ripple of laughter went through the room. "Of course Carter takes him," the Alpha leader whispered loudly. "The regiment of failures adds another loser to the pile." "Perfect match," another sneered. "The washout captain and the savage caveman." The criticism was open and cruel. Carter's squad was known as the dumping ground for soldiers who had no political connections or ambition. But Carter ignored them. He signed the transfer papers with a steady hand. "Pack your gear, Thorne," Carter said softly. "We're moving out in 6 hours." Just then, an emergency call came to the council that shook everyone. Secret intel had come in that a group of mercenaries had joined forces with a traitor. This traitor had stolen highly secure files from the Pentagon and was about to cross the border with the mercenaries. If he wasn't stopped, it would mean great danger for the country. There was panic all around. The commander ordered the troops to relocate to the border. Carter and his troops were assigned to the North Cascades outpost, a place so remote it didn't even appear on most military maps. It was a punishment posting, a place where careers went to freeze to death. But this time, they also had to secure the territory. On the train ride up the mountain, Noah sat in silence, staring out the window at the passing forests. "You're quiet," Carter said, peeling a slice of steak and offering half to Noah. "I failed, sir," Noah whispered, not taking the steak. "I promised my family I'd be a Phantom Ranger. Now it's all over." Carter sighed and leaned back. "Let me tell you something, son. A title is just a patch on your shoulder. A Phantom Ranger fights for glory. But a real soldier? A real soldier fights for the man standing next to him. I was an outcast like you. They tried to send me home. But look who stayed back for all the fun." Carter reached out and placed a hand on Noah's shoulder. It was a firm, warm grip. "Those officers back there? They didn't trust you because they couldn't control you. They didn't see your value. But I did. You have good instincts, Noah. You have a good heart. To me, that's worth more than a shiny badge. Now let's gear up. We have got a country to protect." Noah looked at his captain. For the first time since he left the forest, since the mercenaries burned his home, someone was looking at him with kindness. In that moment, something shifted in Noah's soul. The burning ambition to be a famous Phantom Ranger flickered and died. It was replaced by the values of camaraderie and national service. "Thank you, Captain," Noah said, finally taking the steak. "I won't let you down." After trekking for days in the mountains, they reached their post. Dark clouds loomed overhead, swirling like bruised ink as the temperature plummeted. Amidst these imposing mountain ranges, a dazzling Old Glory flag fluttered in the wind. Beside it stood the North Cascades outpost of the United States. This lonely station guarded the ancient trail along the northern border. Apart from the 3 soldiers on watch duty at the Plaza Watchtower, the rest of the squad was holed up in the warm, dimly lit kitchen quarters preparing dinner. Squad leader Carter Johnson was opening the grain sacks. "It's about to rain any minute now," a voice grumbled from the window. "Damn, this weather. It's been raining for months." The speaker was Jacob Costanza, the squad's second in command. He was a stark contrast to Carter. While Carter was rough and loud, Costanza was perpetually anxious. "Costanza, you're the second in command," Carter said. "Stop staring at the clouds like a poet. Go and bring a raincoat if you're so scared of a little water." Costanza turned back to the room, his face etched with worry. "It's not the water, sir. I hate it when it gets dark out there." Costanza was a family man, or at least, he was trying to be one now. He sat down heavily on a wooden crate near the stove. "I was thinking about my son today. It's his birthday next week. He's turning 7. 7? Carter scoffed, though there was no malice in it. "Last time you talked about him, he was 5. Time flies when you're rotting on a mountain." "I missed his last 2 birthdays," Costanza said softly. He looked at his hands. "You know, before I joined the military, I didn't care. I was a selfish man, Carter. I had a wife, a kid, a house, and I treated it all like it was a burden. I took them for granted. I thought they'd always be there, waiting for me while I went out drinking or working late." The kitchen went quiet. The other soldiers, usually loud, listened. They knew Costanza's pain. "Then I got posted here," Costanza continued, his voice trembling slightly. "All I want is to hear my kid laugh. I want to argue with my wife about the dishes. I value the boring stuff. But I am afraid if I can ever go back from this place. These mountains are scary." Carter laughed, breaking the tension. "You're a soft city boy, Costanza. I understand that your balls are cold. That's why you're here with the regiment of failures. But don't worry. I've got enough fire for both of us. I might be old, but I can still wrestle a bear if I have to." The men chuckled. It was their routine. "Speaking of bears," Dave, another soldier, chimed in from the corner where he was peeling potatoes. "Where's the kid? Where's Noah?" "Yeah," Costanza added, looking at the clock. Shouldn't he be back from the commissary by now? It's getting pitch black out there. He better not have been carried off by wolves, Carter grumbled. Or we won't have rations for the whole month. I sent him to get some food supplies. Don't worry about Noah, sir, Costanza said, relaxing a little. Noah may be a new recruit, but he's got some serious skills. No wolves or even tigers could mess with that one. Plus, he grew up in Alaska. This weather is probably a beach vacation for him. The mention of Noah brought a warmth to the room. When Noah Thorne had first arrived here, dragged in by Carter after being expelled from the elite training program, the squad had been skeptical. He was poor, quiet, and came with a disgraced label. They had mocked him relentlessly at first. But Noah had taken it all with a smile. Another officer, Dave, placed the plates to offer dinner, and everyone prayed before taking the first bite of the meal. Just then, the window shattered. A small, dark object flew into the room, landing in the middle of the flour-covered table. It spun for a second, wobbling to a halt. It was a grenade. Costanza screamed, thinking of his son. Dave froze. Carter lunged forward, trying to flip the heavy wooden table over to shield his men. A blast burnt the entire post. The post was under attack. Burning bodies spilled out of the post, and even they had been shot dead. After 10 minutes of heavy fighting, charred corpses lay still. That's when a fully armed soldier, the captain of the mercenary group, entered the room. "Mr. White, didn't you say your country was an impenetrable fortress?" he asked with pride. "But look how easily our blood wolf mercenaries smuggled you right across the border. And look at your sad little outpost. We burned it to a crisp in minutes." Benjamin White was a traitor whose news spread like wildfire across the nation. He was the most wanted man in America whose political and financial connections were so strong that he had hired an entire group of dangerous mercenaries to go across the border. He stared at the corpses scattered across the floor and laughed. "Of course, you did your job well. Now we just need to cross the border and take down everything that stands in our way. Just like your people took down a Phantom Ranger special force of 30 fully trained officers." A couple of miles west, unaware that his world had just ended, Noah Thorne was walking along the muddy trail. "Come on, old rocket. We'll get you a nice bath and brush your shiny coat when we get back, okay?" Noah was walking alongside a horse-drawn wagon, piled high with sacks of flour, canned vegetables, and the special cheese Carter had requested. He thought about the squad back at the outpost. He smiled. They were a motley crew, the regiment of failures, as the high command called them. But to Noah, they were everything. When he had arrived, they teased him. But when he was sick with the flu in his first month, Costanza had sat by his bunk all night making sure his fever went down. When Noah's boots wore out, Carter had ordered a new pair in Noah's size and left them on his bed. Suddenly, a wolf's howl shattered the tranquility of the wild mountains. Noah stopped in his tracks. Looking in the direction of the howl, he saw it. Standing on a hillside not far away, silhouetted against the dying light, was a lone wolf. Old Rocket let out a terrified bellow and reared up. The horse wanted to bolt. Noah grabbed Rocket's bridle, calming him down. If the wolf attacked the horse, the wagon would overturn, the supplies would be ruined, and Rocket would be killed. Noah made a choice instantly. "Hey, bud," Noah said reassuringly, stroking Rocket's face. "Tough luck today, huh? First the rainstorm, now the wolf. How about you go on ahead and beat the rain, and I'll handle the hungry wolf and catch up with you." Noah slapped Rocket's rear. The horse bolted, pulling the rattling wagon down the trail toward the outpost at a breakneck speed. Then, he turned to his immediate threat. Noah reached under the burlap sacks he had been carrying on his back and pulled out a weapon. It was an old, heavy machete his father had given him before he left the tribe. The wolf was already moving down the hill, its eyes locked on Noah. With the machete in hand, Noah's demeanor completely changed. Gone was the friendly boy next door who joked with his horse. In his place stood a tough hunter. His eyes narrowed, staring coldly at the wolf. He adjusted his stance, spreading his feet for balance. The wolf sensed the change, but its hunger was too great. The hungry wolf suddenly charged at him. Noah didn't move. The machete in his hand rotated slowly, the blade now facing forward. He stood his ground, took a deep, calming breath, and whispered threateningly, "All right, you little beast. Come and get me." When it was about 5 or 6 meters away, the wolf made its move. It gathered its legs under it and suddenly leapt high into the air, aiming for Noah's throat. It opened its mouth, bearing yellow, razor-sharp fangs. "Die!" Noah screamed. Just as the wolf was about to sink its teeth into him, Noah dropped. He quickly crouched his body, sliding on the muddy grass, going underneath the soaring beast. As he slid, he shot his hand upward. In one fluid motion, he swung the machete. The sharp blade caught the wolf in the soft underbelly, using the beast's own momentum against it. The blade pierced deep, slicing through muscle and organ, sending blood splattering across Noah's face. The wolf's body came crashing down heavily at Noah's feet. Noah stood up, breathing heavily. He wiped the blood from his eyes. He looked down at the carcass. "Sorry, brother," Noah whispered to the dead animal. "But I have people waiting for me." With the wolf defeated, Noah hurried back, eager for the warmth of the kitchen and the laughter of his squad. But the closer he got, the heavier the silence became. No lights flickered in the windows. No sentry walked the tower, and the only thing greeting him at the gate was the terrifying quiet of a graveyard. Noah entered the kitchen and fell to his knees beside the body of Commander Carter Johnson. He turned Carter over. The face that had smiled at him just yesterday was gone. Half of his head was missing. "Commander?" Noah's voice was a broken whisper. Noah's mind fractured. As he looked around, the reality crushed him. They were all gone. Jacob, Dave, all of them. The killers destroyed everything, including the communication lines, and Noah was stuck on a mountain without telephones. "I'm sorry," he choked out. "I wasn't here. I should have been here." He looked at Carter's face one last time. Slowly, the sorrow in Noah's chest began to harden. It cooled into something far more dangerous. He wiped the tears from his eyes. "Commander, brothers," Noah whispered, his voice trembling not with fear, but with a dark promise. "I swear to you, I will hunt them down, every single one of them. Until I avenge you, I am not worthy to be called a soldier. I am not worthy to be called a man." Noah moved through the ruins. He checked the armory, desperate for a weapon. He grabbed a Series 95 rifle from the rack, but his heart sank. The barrel was bent, destroyed by gunfire. The shelves were empty. No bullets. No grenades. The killers had taken everything. He had nothing but his machete and a heart full of rage. Keep listening to uncover this truth. That's when a dull explosion echoed from the west. Noah's head snapped up. Someone was still out there. He didn't hesitate. He grabbed a piece of paper, scribbled a quick note for any reinforcements, and pinned it down with a spent casing. Then, he walked out into the rain. He walked past his horse, Rocket. "Go home, boy," he murmured, not looking back. "I'm going where you can't follow." He marched into the dark forest, crossing the invisible line that marked the border. He knew what this meant. If he was caught, he would be a prisoner of war. He would be branded a rogue. But titles didn't matter anymore. 2 gunshots shattered the rhythm of the rain. Noah threw himself behind a thick oak tree. Ahead, through the gloom, he saw a shadow dive and roll. A split second later, 3 bullets tore up the earth exactly where the figure had been standing. Someone was fighting for their life. Noah gripped his machete. He didn't know who was fighting. He crept forward, and he peered around a tree, scanning for the shooter. Instead, he found a gun barrel in his face. "Move and you die." The voice was female, cold as ice and hard as iron. Noah froze. He looked up, past the muzzle of the handgun, into a pair of terrifying eyes. She was tall, powerful, and radiating an aura of violence that made Noah's knees weak. "Don't shoot!" Noah stammered, raising his hands. I'm on your side. United States." She looked at his standard issue uniform. She lowered the gun slightly, but the tension didn't leave her body. ID number? Name? Unit? She demanded. Before Noah could answer, he saw a glint of metal in the bush behind her 300 yards out. A sniper scope. Get down! Noah didn't think. He lunged at her, tackling her waist and driving them both into the mud. A bullet slammed into the tree right where her head had been a second ago. Splinters rained down on them. Get off me! The woman snarled. She didn't thank him. She kicked him in the chest, hard. Noah flew backward, crashing into a tree trunk. He gasped, clutching his ribs, looking up in shock. The woman was already up. She slid behind cover just as 3 more bullets chewed up the ground where they had fallen. You clumsy idiot! She hissed at him from behind her tree. You almost got me killed with that tackle. Noah wheezed, trying to catch his breath. I am sorry. You exposed my position, she shot back. She peeked out, fired a single round, and ducked back. Stay down, rookie. Don't try to be a hero. You clearly aren't built for it. Noah felt the insult burn deeper than the kick. She was right. He had failed the Ranger trials. He had been sent to the border because he was useless. And now, even when he tried to help, he was just in the way. Another shot rang out. This time, the bullet grazed the woman's cover, pinning her down. She checked her magazine. She was running low. Great, she muttered, glaring at Noah across the gap between their trees. I'm pinned down by a sniper team, and my backup is a border guard who looks like he's going to throw up. I can help, Noah said, his voice trembling. Help? She laughed, a cruel, sharp sound. Look at you. You're shaking. I don't know why they allow men like you in the army. What are you going to do? Throw rocks at them? Noah looked at his empty hands. Then he looked at the machete on his belt. No, that was too big for this range. Then he remembered. In his boot. The tri-star blade. Commander Carter had given it to him. The sniper fired again. The woman flinched. She was trapped. She had no angle. If she moved, she would die. If she stayed, she would die. Noah looked at the position of the sniper. He couldn't see the man, but he saw the muzzle flash. 15 meters away, hidden in a dense thicket. That's when Noah burst from behind the tree. No! The woman screamed. You suicidal fool! Noah didn't run toward the enemy. He ran toward her. As he sprinted, he reached into his boot. He planted his foot, twisted his hips, and whipped his arm forward. The tri-star blade left his hand. It whistled through the air, curving slightly around the trunk of the massive oak tree the woman was using for cover. It disappeared into the darkness of the thicket. For a second, there was silence. The woman stared at him, her mouth open in shock. What was that? You missed by a mile. Then, from the thicket 15 meters away, came a wet, gurgling sound. A heavy thud followed as a body fell from a tree perch, hitting the ground. The sniper fire stopped. The female soldier slowly stood up. She looked at the dead sniper in the distance, then back at Noah. Her eyes were wide, the arrogance replaced by total confusion. That's impossible, she whispered. She walked over to the sniper's position. The blade was buried deep in the man's throat. She turned back to Noah. He was leaning against a tree, trying to stop his hands from shaking. He looked like a boy who had lost his way. Who are you? She asked, her voice losing its edge. Noah looked up. His eyes were haunted. I'm nobody, he said softly. The woman holstered her weapon, looking at him with intensity. But this nobody had just done something a Phantom Ranger would struggle to replicate. Noah didn't even look back at the woman. He walked over to the tree, placed a boot against the tree, and yanked his tri-star blade out of the dead man's throat. Hey! The female soldier called out. Did you hear me? That throw. I've never seen anything like it. You just saved my life. Noah ignored her. He slid the blade back into his boot and turned toward the dark, dense tree line. I don't have time for this. My squad is dead. I have work to do. I have a mission too, she said. And I can't do it alone. My backup is gone. I need you. Noah let out a bitter, dry laugh. Look at me, Noah spat. I'm a reject. I'm the guy who couldn't assemble a rifle. I can't even hold a gun without shaking. You want a partner? Go find a real soldier. I'm just a savage with a knife. He turned to leave again, but her next words stopped him. But you have the eyes of a hawk and the confidence of a born assassin. I don't need a soldier who follows orders. I need a hunter. She stepped closer to his back. I can fix your aim. I can teach you breathing. I can make you a phantom ranger, Noah. But I can't teach a man how to have the guts you just showed. Noah's long-lost dream finally came to some light. Why do you care? Noah whispered. Because the man I'm chasing is Benjamin White, she said. He's moving with a convoy of mercenaries. He has the stolen files from the Pentagon, and he is heading for the border crossing. Noah slowly turned around. White? The traitor? The same man who likely ordered the hit on your outpost, she confirmed, seeing the recognition in his eyes. We have a common enemy, but we are running out of time. She checked her watch. He crosses into neutral territory in exactly 24 hours. If he crosses that line, the secrets he carries will destroy this nation. We have 24 hours to catch him, or it's all over. How will this female soldier train a rejected soldier to become a phantom warrior? How will two lone soldiers stop a traitor protected by an entire army of mercenaries in less than 24 hours? To find out what happens next, start listening to The Wild Warrior, only on the Pocket FM app. Download now for free.